Dave, we're back on here on Sunday at the Laurel Lawn. I can finally say Laurel Lawn. I've been wanting to say it all weekend. We are back here on the turf, and the track is fast today, Dave.
Yeah, with all that rain we had earlier in the week, days and days of it, we had to take one extra day to dry out the turf. It's in good shape right now. Turf is rated good, and we are back on the grass this afternoon, so that's some couple of competitive fields on the turf. Main track fast, plenty of sunshine. It's in the 50s, Callie. I know you love that.
Hey, it's in the 50s. I'm really happy about that. It was a bit frosty today. We did have a frost advisory here in Maryland. I got the email notification, but it was pretty good. We didn't get frost on the track at all or on the turf at all, so we're set.
It's a little more northwest of us, but it's getting close. Temperature right now in the 50s. Winds out of the west, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Seems more like 10 to me. How about you?
A little bit, yeah, but we'll be all right. We'll be just fine out here. So with that saying, let's go ahead into this first race. A mile and 16th here on the dirt as the starter optional 12-5. We both land on the number 5 Assembly Point. Brazilian bred for Richard Silliman. Angel Cruz gets the call. They're all both looking for 3 in a row as all the connections are teaming up together again.
Yeah, the Silliman barn's done a really nice job with this 5-year-old. He's in good form right now. He's won 3 races in a row, one for Kirami claimed, and then a 9-length win. He can settle from off the pace. He can go to the front. He kind of does what he wants right now. I'm going to stick with the horse in good form right now. We'll show you some video of Assembly Point, I believe. No? Am I right or am I?
Not this one today. We've got a couple of your videos coming up pretty soon. But
my first and only mistake of the show, because I had a little video marked as a possibility.
There you go. There's
I found
your
some better later today. Assembly Point looking for 4 in a row. And Silliman's got another horse in here, Philly, who ran second behind Assembly Point, our Tenderoni. That could be tough too. Maybe she can turn the tables and beat the boys this afternoon. I see you like Assembly Point as well, looking to continue on the Silliman roll.
Look, it's cinnamon roll. I was almost going to say cinnamon roll as well, but with our tenderoni again, you kind of alluded to it in the barn. Ricky has the other horse to really kind of base off of where this horse belongs. So I'm also tying that together with Ricky Silliman can get these horses pretty revved up pretty easily coming back into form. So once a horse is on the upswing with Ricky, they tend to stick that way.
Yeah, now in the past, this horse has had pretty much speed, tried to drift a little bit, if you recall. Actually was disqualified for that antic a few months back, but lately he's been a little more settled, but he can go to the front if he wishes. I think they're going to try a little bit settle mode right off the pace, just as they did last time out. Scratching here, the 1A went. So I don't know. I mean, looking at the pace scenario of the race, maybe they try to send the filly to the front. Mucho Macho Eddie's had some early speed as well. I think they'll sit right off them and hope to stalk and pounce. No big surprises. I think we'll see kind of a formful opener here at Laurel Park.
Formful opener with horses were coming off of the pace yesterday, Dave, on that track yesterday. So we'll see what happens here today as far as what kind of speed is holding today, but we'll find out in a little bit, starting at first post starting at 12:40, but the early pick 4 starts in race number 2. Dave, you've got a ticket lined up for us. How do you play it?
Yeah, well, I'll take a swing again today in that early pick 4 for a $27 ticket. Going a little deeper in the first leg, and in the second leg, I'm going to use only 2 horses in there. Dr. Ferber, that's the closer, and a possible speed horse, Krakenwagen, in there. A little worried about him maybe trying to shake loose today after being rated last time out. So I'm going to go to angles of, will there be too much speed? And here comes the closer, or will Krakenwagen try to shake loose? So I'm kind of protecting both ways there. 2, 3, and 5 in the 4th race of the program. But the real dazzler, the Lollapalooza of the turf races today is the 5th race. Good luck here. I mean, I went 3 deep, could go a little bit more deep, but I wanted to keep the cost affordable. That's a wide open scramble today in the 5th race. Excellent betting race today, the 5th at Laurel Park, our feature, going 5.5, second wire finish on the lawn. So there's your $27 swing at the pick 4.
Swing at the pick 4. I like it. We do these turf races that are coming up are nice turf races that we have going on, Dave. Like this Maiden 45 opener right now, a mile here on the turf, and we both land on Covert Cat for Mike Trombetta, Angel Cruz. We've got a video on Covert Cat from Colonial. that Colonial effort.
Yeah, let's take a look, shall we? Covert Cat is by Runaway and Hide out of Fat Cat. The dam says all sprint. Fat Cat was basically a sprinter. He's trying to stretch out to a mile on the turf this afternoon. Covert Cat swings up here the outside to finish second, and a good solid second. And the Orange Silks, a Country Life Farm, closing the gap. That's a sprint coming up. A route today. Will he be able to distance? He's by Runaway and Hide. Turf routes 13%, a little bit above average for that sire for Runaway and Hide. So the top says yes he can. Second bottom on the bottom says, well, he could be just a sprinter. But the winner of that race, you saw there, Maya Prince Colonial came back to win. Next race, he's had four improving, Beyer speed figures in his last four. 67, 69, 73, 74. Climbing the ladder, so he was second behind a sharp and improving horse. The question is, can he get the distance?
Question is, can he get the distance? And Runaway and Hide, 10% industry average, as you mentioned, first time route. Also, Mike Trombetta was stretching him out, average as well, so may need a race. But in this field for today, hey, why not? You go with the number one, also underneath Pharaoh's Fury, Marco Salazar, 20-1.
I
Dave.
almost picked this horse on top. Kind of a good price play, I think, to include in here. You can see he did show speed at Pimlico on the turf back last year, 2021, in a triple key race there, won by Winston Pegg. They ran him at Colonial unsuccessfully, kind of flashed up there and faltered. He's had two races this year, both at Colonial, but both against tougher fields. Two back. The winner of that race, Sanctified. Next out, one. A Other Than. Then a good fourth at Kentucky Downs at 28-1. Where's the speed in here? I think they're going to gun and go for it. He might get Brave up front. Pharaoh's Fury. American Pharaohs, of course, on the turf always have to take an extra look.
Yep.
Marco Salazar with a win a few days back.
Yes.
Upset in the match race in a two-horse field.
That's
did
the
he?
first thing I thought of when you have this horse underneath. So absolutely.
Yeah, I don't have a stat today to put on graphics, but I did want to mention Marco Salazar on the turf. He's only 10%, but a positive ROI. He's popped with 50-1, 18-1. 11-1, 9-1. Could this be another long shot from the Salazar?
Could this be another long? We had plenty of prices yesterday, so why not? We also took a look at Giants Bane for Sarah Nagel, Georgie Ruiz. She was here. Paddock schooling the horse here yesterday, shipping all the way from Charlottesville, Virginia. Quite a haul to get over here, and this is another one that will just be sitting right off of it a little bit. The biggest thing I have a question about is how is this horse going to be on a bit of a softer turf today?
He seems to be kind of racing himself into shape, right? He's only had Lasix last couple of times, went back on Lasix, but he was a beaten favorite last time out behind CC Gold Rush. I just can't excuse that race. He just seems to loom and not follow through, right? He's done that a couple of times, but maybe today the softer course might do the trick. Turf is rated good. His last couple of runs on the grass have been on the firm ground. So, yeah, he does have a chance, but I think, if we see the Giants Bane, we saw August 19th, July 3rd, his last start, second last start. He could loom, and you're going to have to root him home from there.
Gonna have to root him home. I also throw in Brilliant Ice underneath there for Annette Eubanks. I just go off of that sloppy surface performance at Pimlico last out. I know the breeding doesn't quite suggest that this horse is going to A, like the turf in general, or B, like a soft turf, but again, with that sloppy and that stretch out, I'm taking a little bit of a stab at it. With that being said, let's head on to race number 3, the starter allowance. That starts off the Rainbow Pick 6. I brought up a ticket, and this is how I played. And the two big races I go wide on are race 5 and race 7. These nice big turf events that we have going on here. And this is where I'm keying in. We had prices yesterday. We are on the turf today. We're on a bit of a softer turf today. I gun in for anything that had any kind of positive enforcement on a soft turf. So I go in with my single. I love how you have Radical Right, by the way, in race number 5, Dave, but I single in on race number 6, Domineer, for Jose D'Angelo. Jario Rendon, he's bringing in Rendon into the fold. A Monmouth rider coming in for it today. Second off of the layoff for Jose. He runs typically pretty well here at Maryland, so I'm just kind of touching along with that. A bit of a cheaper ticket, but it was either $36 or $72, so I decided to go with a $36 ticket here, starting in race number 3. In this nice little starter allowance, a mile and 16th here on the dirt. Dave, you land on the number 3, Dr. Ferber.
I would say kind of the stranger in the race, and that all of these horses really have run against Ghost Stalker, right? Your top pick?
Yes.
And here, Ghost Stalker beat Lost My Voucher, Money in the Banksy, and Clock and Wagon last time out. The new guy in town, though, seems to be in sharp form right now, Dr. Ferber. Now we have video. Am I correct? Did
Yes,
I get
we
it correct?
do.
There we go. Dr. Ferber. Here comes the doctor. He's a deep kind of closer. He got really super trip back on July 23rd to win in the $8,000 condition race when he beat Know How I Know and Klug. But last time out, the pace was good, but not as fast, and he still managed to rally and win, and not only that, but win going away. Well, who was in that race there, looking back at the chart? A guy named Camp Pendleton, who blew them away yesterday.
Yes.
All right, I believe it's Camp Pendleton there chasing him home there in the orange sleeves just behind him. But Dr. Ferber, Blue 6, bounding home. I just think he's in good form right now. He was only 3 lengths behind Assembly Point, who's going to run today in the first race. Talked about a few moments ago in our Tenderoni. So I'm going to stick with the horse maybe to continue some upward momentum here. Dr. Ferber, he's going to be my BB.
Best bet of the day, right there. There you have it for Dave Rodman. We also have to include in Money in the Banksy, and you also include in Lost My Voucher underneath in that short, but a nice enough competitive field. That's an interesting enough field in that starter allowance. But that maiden claiming 12.5 that we have in race number 4 is, again, a little bit shorter, but just as interesting. You get land on the number 2, Dollars and Cents for Anthony Ferrier. First time for the Ferrier barn, with Angel Cruz taking the call here today.
Yeah, could have gone here, could have gone there, could have gone here, could have gone there. Where does the Ouija board land? I went to Anthony Ferrier with a first-time starter by Street Sense, who was only a $12,000 purchase. Street Sense, of course, $75,000 stud fee, but 2 of the siblings out of this horse, Dollars and Cents out of Chatique, have won first time out. And I wasn't really crazy about anything else in here, right? And the Ferrier barn's been on a roll this week, so I'm going to stick with a horse who possibly has the pedigree to win first out. A couple of Chatique's runner have done just that at the 1 mile distance. He's probably not super fast on his feet since they're debuting him at a mile for this tag, but all you need to do is be fit and grind it out, and hopefully he could do that today and get the winner's circle first out from the Ferrier barn. But could have gone with a 5. Annie's all inclusive, who comes out of a 5th place finish in debut. He kind of took himself, I think, right out of the race when you look at the video at Monmouth. Now they put the blinkers on. He was up there. All of a sudden, he didn't get shuffled back. He just dropped back. I'm not interested right now, but maybe later I will be. And it did finish okay down the stretch, and the blinkers go on to improve his concentration. So he's a possibility in there, too. A lot of ways to go in here, but I landed on the first-time starter.
I landed on, as we just talked about, the Jeffrey Engelhart horse. I'm just giving a horse that is a little bit more fit, having a race underneath him, and then with the blinkers on, just seeing if that horse can just jazz up a little bit, so to say. And then we both go with the number 3 underneath. I am Mike for Carlos Mencia. Of course, a couple of these horses just have needed a little bit of experience, and really, they're all of these horses aren't asking for a shorter distance. They're asking for the longer distance. So really, it's fit today. Yeah,
particularly the 5. I mean, the dam of all Annie's all-inclusive the 5 was all distance. Auntie's the 1. So on one race at 5.5, stretching out to this mile, certainly going to help him. Could have gone with him on top, but decided to take a swing at perhaps a slightly better price.
Why not? Slightly better price. Race number 5. Is this allowance optional, claiming 45.5 on the turf as intended. Scratch with the 1, the 8, the 16, and the 12. So that leaves you with the number 2 on top, which is my original top pick, Smithwick Spice for Doug Nunn. Jario Rendon coming in today for the call.
Yeah, Doug Nunn used to have this horse, right? They reached in, they claimed him off the dirt, they put him on the turf, and wow, what a transformation. It's been now going to look for 4 in a row on the grass. He won super easy at Monmouth, dueled 2 wide in that little Jersey stake up there at Monmouth, and then drew off with very little urging. Just kind of
Right.
tapped him once,
Bye-bye.
and he took off. I'm a little concerned about him drawing the inside post with a big field,
Sure.
going 5.5 on the turf, rated good. We haven't been on it in a while, so maybe the outer part will play better. We don't know,
Right.
but I think
And that's-
he's the now horse.
Well, and that's where I went a little bit cautious, Dave. So
Okay.
I like that. I like it. So he has experience on that inside post, and what he does is he changes. That's at the 5. He changes tactics at the 5, where he sits back a little bit, and that turned out well enough for him. So this horse, a lot of tools in the tool belt that he can use. Now the only question is, does this horse have a tool for a bit of a soft turf, which is why originally my top pick, but I just went down a little bit just to be a little bit safe and secure on that. So that's where I land on the 13. With your outside speed, Boats a Rockin' for Brandon Culp. Tyler Connor coming in for the ride. Had a good run on a good, not just good, but a good and yielding turf course. Now, that was at the claiming 10 and the claiming 12.5 were but also a little bit of a different horse now. Ran well in a grade 3 at Parks going short on a firm turf, but has proven that this horse can handle a yielding turf as well.
Yeah, a former claimer, but often you'll see horses that show that kind of speed, draw off speed early on the route races, not be able to make the transformation coming back to sprinting, but he did. He was 5-1 only in the Turf Monster at Parks, came from off the pace, so he's a very versatile horse, still in form right now. He's only got one race there in a blemish as a beaten favorite there at Laurel Park on a good turf course. That concerns me a little bit about Boats a Rockin' and in a wide open race, but he's taken the transformation from a turf router to a sprinter, and he can close if anybody goes up front early. He can settle, and he's got a good outside draw to do just that.
Let's talk about your number 9. Wow, what a summer, because I had that horse on and off of my ticket. Again, just the biggest that we're cutting back in distance, but this horse is okay at that. At Laurel, at an allowance, was a third back in April of this year, but this horse had a soft, firm turf at Penn National in that grade 2. That was going long, but this horse is able to, I think this horse will be okay on a good turf today.
Yeah, this horse doesn't mind any kind of rain. Chuck Lawrence goes to Geron Barbosa. I think last week we highlighted that stat. Barbosa and Chuck Lawrence, a positive ROI together. They've won a ton of races together as a jockey trainer team this year. Doesn't mind the off-going and has been able to close as well, just like Boats a Rockin', and there's abbreviated sprints going 5.5. Another closer in there I've got is Radical Right. I'm using that horse in that last leg of the pick 4 as well, and I think we have some video here of Radical Right. We're going to go back to June and show you the race on the good course here at Laurel Park, where he finished behind Determined Kingdom and Oldies But Goodies. There he is in the green, heading into the turn, right there at a steady just a little bit and get out of there. The speed went on with it, but as usual, he comes closing, and he closed. I know this horse likes to close on the outside with a good late kick. I think he'll be out-kicked early, try to get him just outside of Ella Maybe, just going to angle him out and try to make one big kick with him. Here he comes there again in the green on the outside for a nice stretch run there. He has a tendency to kind of stay on that left lead maybe a little bit longer than you want. At least I've seen him do that before. I don't know if he does it in this race. He's pretty good here, right?
Yeah.
So here he comes right to the center of the track and comes rolling, but just out-kicked that day in a good field, and he's going to be a great price. I like the fact that he's got 3 good works here. Last month, September 15th, 22nd, 28th, he hasn't missed a beat, including a bullet on the dirt track of 48-1, best of 9 that morning. So his fitness shouldn't be a problem here, and I think he'll give a good accounting for himself in the last furlong as they dash to the second wire.
I will. I think this horse had a little bit of a break, but he's coming back for the right reasons. I think he did need a little bit of that time, but ultra consistent horse, ultra consistent runner. I think he's going to handle this type of turf course just fine. And with that, we'll go to race number. Again, that's such a competitive race number 5. But we will have a little quick commercial break. We will be back for the rest of the card.
We're ready for the start. They're off.
are back for the rest of the remaining card here on Sunday. Race number 6 is this claiming 8,000, 5.5 on the dirt as intended, and we both land on the number 3. This is my bit of a risky single on my ticket, but Domineer for Jose D'Angelo, Jario Rendon, coming in for his other ride here from Monmouth Park. This one is second off of a little bit of a layoff.
Well, some of the best running she's done has been on an off track. We don't have that today. She's got perhaps a speed rival in Untouched Elegance, but I'm throwing my face in the Timeform US pace figures to say that Domineer is faster early than Untouched Elegance. If that doesn't happen, well, we're going to look for a closer, and it could be Hello Gracie. We'll show you a video in a moment. I guess you're going for the same angle, right?
Yes.
Think she's going to go to the front?
I think might as well. Just maybe not quite to the front, but as we can, if we can see that video just coming up, guys. But maybe not quite on the front, but just a tick right off of it. If you go back in that Penn National effort. If we had
we're looking at Hello Gracie now, right?
That video of Hello Gracie, the number 1.
Yeah, here's a confirmed closer in the race. If things go crazy with Domineer and crazy with Untouched Elegance up front, then nice move here from Hello Gracie on the outside, and she can sustain if the pace falls apart and there's a meltdown in front of her. Looked like maybe she had the horse on the lead, but that horse on the lead, there's going to be a little bit of a technical glitch here. Not our fault, ladies and gentlemen, coming up. But you'll see that horse on the lead is on the, it kind of seems to be like on the path, right?
Yes.
And then on the outside, Hello Gracie just kind of one-paced it through the stretch.
Yes.
But I know she can settle, she can relax, and she'll get a good run this afternoon with a quick pace in front of her, whether it's a solo solo horse on the lead up front in Domineer, or whether there is a duel, perhaps with Untouched Elegance. She seems to be like the closer of the race, along with Devilish Affair. She's been off and on. You know, we've seen her here at Laurel Park, 4-time winner at this track. She's got 4 wins in all 4 here at Laurel Park, giving a good account of herself when there's a pace in front of her. She often kicks in. Last 2 races, you got to toss, right? They tried the turf experiment in the summer. Last was first back on a sloppy track at Charlestown, coming back to familiar territory here. A Devilish Affair with apprentice William Humphrey aboard, riding in good form.
Right. William Humphrey riding in good form. B, when these two team up together, they tend to team up together really well. C, I thought about having Devilish Affair on and off of my ticket, but I left off just because as of late, Norman Cash from that Charlestown to Laurel hasn't been the strongest, but still showing up. So definitely fair enough to keep Devilish Affair underneath your selections here.
Come on, Pace Figs.
Yes, come on, Pace Figs. Race number 7, that starter optional, claiming 5.5 on the turf as intended. Dave, you land on the number 4. Never satisfied for Brian Brooks. J-Ron Barbosa, I have this horse underneath. This is coming second off, first after the claim, actually.
Yeah, a good third last time out on the slop, on the dirt, here at Laurel behind Sponsored. But the turf run caught my eye when she was second behind No Angel in a good kick. And this is right off the claim for Brooks in a short turnaround. October 2nd claim comes back a week later. He's got good ROI, positive ROI from a small sample. Claiming horses, running them back right quick, right? So I think she'll get a good setup this afternoon. He'll get a good setup this afternoon. So I landed with that horse kind of tentatively on top. What do you do with Great Idea, right? Claim for $40,000. By trainer Dale Capuano, they drop and add the blinkers. You got to claim, you got to drop, you got to shorten up from the mile to 5.5 with the second wire finish. Kind of, she is a closer, he's a closer, and you add the blinkers on today. Kind of a move that you have to question the drop, but the blinkers do go on today.
Right.
And maybe they're just going to hope for the win and the claim here.
I'm looking at those works, indicating that they probably had the blinkers on with those works on, knowing how Dale operates. He is pretty decent at that route to sprint, and I'm looking at that effort on breaking the maiden on that yielding turf course just to really tie things up together. So he's not, with Dale getting first time on the turf, we don't have enough info on. I don't have enough info on that, but I do. I like the fact that I like the fact that they're shortening this horse up with the blinkers on, just really getting some zip, especially that gate work back on August 31st.
Another horse that ran okay, and I know I think Keith liked this horse last time out. I think he bet him, right? Sunday Mischief, was that right? I
Yes.
remember that. And he opened up at the 8th pole, and then here they came. They swamped him, Chauffeur and Chrome Dixie. But does come out of a quadruple key race back in June, 2 back here at Laurel Park, and then pops up with a nice run. Maybe not move is quick early today. He's got some good early speed, and if we see some speed holding on his good track, on the good turf, maybe he could be a play by the time we get to race 7. He's going to be double digits for sure on the board.
Double digits for sure on the board. Let's go ahead to our final race of the day. Race number 8, this claiming 25 at Never Win 3, 5.5 on the dirt for these girls, and we both land on the number 4, the Brittany Russell, Kevin Gomez, on a little bit of that, coming off of a turf event back to the dirt.
Yeah, horse kind of a little bit of a project, but broke the maiden here at Laurel, and then came back off a layoff to score again when adding a Lasix, and then a good second behind Sweet Gracie. We talked about the horse earlier in the day, set the pace in the Miss Disco, and they tried her on the grass. And you wonder, why did they try her on the grass? You look at her pedigree. Her dam was a turf runner, and she's, I believe, one of her siblings has run okay on the turf. So that was the reason for the turf try. Had trouble in that race, the Shambo race. There's been a winner out of that race already. Bourbon Wildcat popped up with a big long shot win here just the other day in gate to wire fashion.
Right.
So out of a race that's produced a winner, trouble there, back to the dirt, and dropping in for $25,000. Claim box might be busy today for her. We'll see. I think she's just kind of the class of the race here. Italian dressing. Oh, Hammy Smith. You know, alas and alack, and
I think you're a glutton for
I asked him if he
punishment.
likes his horses, and all he
Yes.
gives me is like South Carolina
Yes.
expressions. It's like poker player. Never tells me, but this is a horse
he
I kind
never will.
of chased in a
He never
while.
will.
Chased a while here. I think she's rolling back to form. 3rd race after time away. Had trouble in the comeback race behind Thief of Hearts. She's run fast enough, I think, to beat this kind of field here today if there's a good pace, and there will be too, with 6 o'clock Sarah up front, and a little bit of that maybe mixing it up there, and that good outside draw. Sheldon goes to Italian dressing for Hammy, the hot hand this week. Hammy has won a couple of races this week, and all of his horses have been really firing. And one of these days I'll get him to fess up and tell me he likes a horse.
Good luck with that. I go with the other Hamby Smith horse underneath, Sweet Talia, who you have underneath as well. This horse has been rocking and starting to rock and roll a little bit. Just coming up to that 25 level for the first time after spending some time at the 16 level. I think maybe needed. This horse is a horse that likes to go with the company that it's with, so I think needs just maybe 1 or 2 more efforts at the 25. So I like that Hammy has his horse back in for the 25.
Yeah, I almost picked her on top, really.
Love it.
Yeah, she's out of Dress Up, who was a stakes winner, I believe, for Graham Motion. And there's always been a flash here and there of talent, but kind of get back on the beam here after 4 starts this year. But this is 3rd back in the cycle for her.
3rd back in the cycle, and those are our picks. Dave Rodman, 4653 for that last one. Dave, let's head over to your best bet and your value/price play.
Yeah, kind of gave it out earlier, but
did.
today on our best bet, we'll go for Dr. Ferber in the 3rd race, hoping that he's the now horse continuing on a roll. One thing I want to mention when handicapping that race, Krockenwagen was beaten favorite last time out. He broke sharp, and then some oddball long shot went up to the front and beat him to the punch, and he was taken back a little bit. Then he got caught betwixt and between in that race,
Right.
and then didn't fire at all. But I'm hoping maybe that Krockenwagen will try to fire to the front. Money in the Banksy is going to try to press him at some point in the race, and Dr. Ferber's going to get a good trip again. Thus the reasoning for the BB. We'll see what happens today. It's got to be better than yesterday. I don't think it hit the board. Or did it? No, we're in 3rd. Sorry. Yeah.
We're in 3rd. You nailed your best bet and your price. Wait.
Yeah.
You nailed
No,
both
that
of
was
your
last week. Best bet that long time ago. That money's gone.
That money.
All right, let's go to the long price play of the day. And we saw the video, right? Radical Right.
Yes,
You know.
radical right. Radical right for Capuano coming off of the break a little bit. Ever consistent, ever
Would
consistent horse. I don't know what was supposed to come out of my mouth, but yeah, very consistent guy.
Well, that's the way I felt when I handicapped that fifth race. I mean, that was just a wide open race there, you know, with the Jersey bred on a roll right now, radical right. You've got some speed horses turning back to sprint, and even a couple of old class horses in there who could get the trick done. So that's the open. That's the key race of the day. I featured the fifth, and that could be the demise of my pick four if I'm alive after 304. But we'll see. Let's hope for. I think that race is so trip dependent, right?
Yes.
Whoever's going to get the trip in that race is just going to be the winner. I mean, I'd be surprised if you see some other horses come out of that race to win
Agreed.
too off trouble runs.
Race number 5 is that big, hefty race of the day on the turf. And we are going to check in with this guy in just a second for more changes and scratches. Thank you.
Good luck.